Welcome back to Booze, Bros, and Cars, your favorite podcast about booze and cars. And today I'm going to be your host. I'm Eric. And, I'm here solo because I did want to kind of discuss about a couple of things here that we've been working on the background here for you guys to make some major improvements, not just to the podcast, but eventually at one point we're going to be posting more and more stuff. um we kind of mentioned it on the last podcast, but my cars on fifth video um made a couple hundred views, which was actually pretty exciting. So we want to do more stuff here for you guys like that. There is going to be another event that's going to be filmed next weekend, the weekend of the 18th, which I feel like you guys are going to enjoy that. But what this is mainly for is going to be mostly for the major changes for the podcast. Before I jump into that, I do want to talk about what I'm going to be drinking tonight, because essentially this is going to be an episode. So tonight I'm going to be drinking, this is actually my final beer for the Wicked Weed Guilty Pleasures. It's 12.2% barrel aged espresso cheesecake. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's made with coffee and vanilla bean. You guys have seen me for the last 4 podcasts drinking this beer. So, and I've enjoyed every single one, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one. But since I'm here solo by myself, let me go ahead and take a sip, and I'll just give my feedback on it. Oh, that's really good. It's thicker than the other ones, but in a good way. Ooh, I really like that. Oh, and there's a coffee note too. That's really delicious. I highly recommend that. I don't know if you can actually find those guilty pleasures here locally, but if you you'd probably be able to order them online or something. I'm sure Wicked Weed will do deliveries. If not, don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but you might be able to buy them online. But anyways, in regards to major changes, so those major changes for the podcast, they're going to be taken into effect today. So those major changes that we've kind of been hinting about for pretty much almost the last month are pretty exciting. And what we're actually going to be doing moving forward is that we're going to start doing them. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Give me a second. My my camera is a little dirty. Bear with me with a second. Sorry about this, guys. Small technical issue. All right, let's see. All right, a little bit more. Hey! That's right, boys and girls. We are officially doing in-person podcast now. Hell, freaking yes.
We made it.
We made it. Finally.
BBC.
Right. Yes.
Start at the bottom, and we're still kind of there. But
exactly.
At least we're all in person in a garage. So.
Exactly. And Mike, thanks for lending us your garage.
No problem.
All the
no problem.
The cool flags and
Yeah,
Mike's Miata. It's
yeah. Everybody finally gets to see the Miata.
P.S. If you guys are interested, it is for sale.
Sure is.
Mike, what are you thinking? How much?
Let's
What are
go
we talking
10 grand and we'll talk about it.
10 grand.
Go
Okay,
from
we're
there.
starting offers
We're
at
gonna start
10.
10 and we'll go from there.
10 grand
OBO.
OBO. Yes.
But for real, it's a very clean Miata, low miles.
It is a
Beautiful
good
car.
example.
Yeah.
It has not been hacked up and beat to shit.
It
Yeah.
has not.
Yeah.
All right. So first up, of course, we're gonna be drinking here tonight because why not, right?
You
Little
get to pour,
celebration.
Eric, since
Oh no, you can pour it. It's fine.
I'm just gonna.
Mike, do not
Yeah, just
do
don't-
shots of this, please.
Shots. All right. I'll be good.
So you're saying we have to be responsible? Is that what you're saying?
Lame.
Yes, Mike.
All
please be
together, we're going to be
responsible.
responsible.
I think I poured it all the same. It should be
I feel like
right at the bottom.
Yeah,
of
you
the
gave Nick a
label.
lot. That's all right.
Oh, I can pour you
I
more.
like tequila.
I can pour you more. It's fine.
He doesn't want to pour me
Booze
more
in
because he's
general.
afraid I'm just gonna do a shot of
Hey,
it.
you're the one that already
I
said,
mean,
"Oh, I can't
yeah.
drink too much." Here,
Here, give me a glass.
You're good, man.
Actually,
Okay.
no, because I want to pour like right.
Fortunately for
Yeah, you
for
realize these are
tequila
these
makes me
are
a little
pretty
touchy
good
feely.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Like
Makes
we-
Carmelo's
Thanks,
souls come
sir.
on.
Do not shoot that, please.
All right.
Oh, I didn't realize the freaking cork actually has like the logo and it says 1942 on it.
There you go.
Dope.
It's the little
Fancy.
things.
Put it back in the box.
It's the little things. Yes, I do. Hell yeah.
There you go.
All right, so the infamous 1942. I've kind of talked about it in the podcast here and there. Mike, am I covering your face?
Oh, here. Let's go right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All
There
right.
we go.
So cheers to the next steps.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is Rose and Cars.
That's smooth, isn't it?
Oh my god,
That's
it's
just amazing.
so good.
Yeah, that's
the
like
first time I
a,
ever had this. That's what someone was like. They were like, "Do not take the shot, just sip it." And it
Yeah.
was just like I need tequila. Like
That's
tequila
delightful.
gives you that kind of gag. You're expecting to take like,
Well,
dude,
and
I
that's
don't-
just
usually bottom shelf is what actually does that. Like you drink bottom shelf and like that shit just like burns down your throat and you can feel that weird tingly feeling.
Tequila's getting very popular though. It's one of the
It is,
yeah.
most popular trending spirits actually
Really?
in the whole category now. Yeah,
does
it's
the
pretty
rock
crazy.
have anything to do with that?
Maybe a little bit.
Possibly.
Maybe as much as I'd like to think
been a
he's a,
couple
he's
years,
a
though.
massive celebrity. I think it's just tequila in general. It
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
like a lot of people are getting more into it. So kind of fun. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing, Eric.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach.
Good
No
choice.
problem.
Good choice. Whoever gifted it to you. Good choice to them.
It was my aunt and uncle that live in Miami that gifted me
Nice.
that.
That's good
So-
family, sir.
Well, yeah,
Keep them.
we appreciate.
Oh hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah, keep them.
They're awesome. I really enjoy talking to them. Like anytime they come up from Miami, like we're always like bullshitting, drinking. I actually I bought like a couple bottles of mead and they drank one of them. They're like, "Oh my god, this is awesome. What is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's mead." And they're like, "What is that?" I explained the whole background of mead and stuff. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Nice.
yeah, they're cool peoples.
Hell yeah. That's
But yeah.
awesome.
So, good shit. So I guess before we kind of get too started into things too, after we're done with this, we're gonna kick off a second bottle. Again, this is kind of like a celebratory first go for us in person. We got a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label that'll get popped open next.
Yes.
A little bit later into this, and this is their Year of the Dragon. So really, it's basically the same stuff, just a fancier box, specialty bottle, one of those that I'll keep on the shelf after the fact. But and then I think we've all got some water lined up and another bottle of whiskey hidden under the table here just in case. So
And
Yes.
lots of beer.
yeah, and
We
lots
also
of
got a lot of
full
beer.
fridge over here. So
Yes.
that being said, we're pretty set on alcohol in this situation.
We are.
What's our first discussion point tonight?
Do
Today,
you
this
guys?
afternoon.
Yeah, this afternoon actually. Yeah, I said evening earlier today, but
Yeah, we're doing this earlier than we usually do for the podcast. So
I know,
it's
kind of our-
it's kind of nice. I
Yeah.
like this midday drinking.
yeah,
It's
kind of
it's
ironically weird, like because of the time. Actually, do you
Yeah.
guys? This is the first time we're obviously doing in person, but do you guys want to get the mics a little bit closer to like the edge of the table, just to make sure it picks up your audio?
a show.
I'll just yell at
Cool.
it.
Yeah. That's,
Wait. Come over.
oh
Mics
man.
are on the table. Mics up top.
Exactly. Do you guys want to do Carmelo's question? I didn't really think about Carmelo's question too much. I thought about I thought about a budget of up to
I don't know.
15
Let's
grand.
do it. We can correct each other as we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the idea that I had, guys and girls, is a budget car, and not a daily. I mean, we're all in our mid-30s. Not saying we're old. We're not young. We all have a little bit of play cash, and what is a fun weekend track, like autocross track car? Because all of us at this point have one. Eric has the Vet, which is a little higher than the 15K. Mike, you got the Miata. Nick has a Porsche that's not running. And I got the Mustang that runs. Knock on wood.
The Porsche
Anyway.
the Porsche could be a track car at some
Yeah.
point.
Every now and then I get a flash of the check engine light, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So I got to put
It'll-
more money away for that Coyote swap.
It'll work
Yeah.
itself out.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's only like
Check engine
20
light's
seconds
normally
and it
good.
just disappears.
yeah.
Thanks for the OBD1. But and rent. Anyway, so I was thinking, initially when we were texting about it, I think I put 12 grand, or I initially typed 12K. I don't know how I stumbled upon that, but that seems like a reasonable amount of money we can put away over a year or two or three, however, and then find that ideal fun weekend car, whether it's, to go out with the wife, the kids, the family, the girlfriend, whatever, or take racing, take up to the Dragon. So what I was thinking, there's a couple different things, but I know, there's multiple sites. I did, just before I came over here, jumped on Facebook Marketplace, found an 04 Mustang. That looks like I could be a straight trade for mine. Terrible. I have, as you guys will later learn, I have a affection for the New Edge, the 99 to 04 Mustangs. Had one a long time ago. That got totaled. Thanks, Dad. Now
I think I
lovingly-
shared that picture. No, I added that to one of the podcasts. I think.
Oh, you did? Okay,
I did.
so-
Yeah, it was like one of like the earlier podcasts. I think like sometime last year.
All right,
I
yeah,
want to
so-
say we did talk about that at some
we
point.
did.
I
Yeah.
definitely remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Whether for our viewers, our returning viewers, the beloved Seahorse.
Yes.
So,
the seahorse.
but so 15 grand nowadays kind of puts it's a weird place. The market's starting to go down, and I think Nick, you can
Yeah.
confirm. Used cars, older cars.
Certain things oddly are just kind of holding on, like those niche
Right.
things. But your normal stuff is starting to level out.
Yeah,
Starting
definitely.
to get back to normal. Obviously less than they used to be because it's been time, but normal levels and back to their normal depreciation. So it's nice to see for those of us looking for stuff like that, the toys, the second cars, things like that. We don't have to break the bank to buy the ideal vehicle.
For sure.
So, with all that being said, a couple things that I was looking into. One was Mustangs, and interestingly enough, I did a auto temperature search. Shout out to them. They're not sponsoring us, but they love sponsoring YouTubers and podcasts. Hit us up. We are probably be your cheapest starting podcast. But anyway, so I was looking at Auto Tempest. They search everything, and a local search on Marketplace. And I was finding 11 and 12, basically first-gen Coyotes, and same era Camaro SSs are now in that price range. And granted, they're not ideal. They're either higher mileage, a little rough, with clean title cars.
Yep.
Obviously, you have the 370s that are in there.
350s probably
The
as well.
350s as well. Yeah, the 350s, 370s, the G35, 37s. I didn't see any Q50s, or Q60s for the coupes. So I'm just going to stay with the Mustang. I know the first gen Coyote isn't ideal, but that
I was gonna say, isn't the 11 and 12? Isn't that like the newer? That's like past the new edge, and that's a 4.6. It's not a 5.0.
No, so the 2010s, both in the Raptor, ironically, and the Mustangs had a different engine than the 11s and up. So
Okay.
the Mustangs had a carryover 4.6. I think it was rated to 315. I know it was rated slightly more than the previous body style.
Didn't the 5.0 come back out in like 06, 07?
No, that was a continuation of that was a 300 horsepower, 315 horsepower, 4.6.
I was gonna say. I
Yeah.
think it was
So the
still
5 liter came
So
out in
anemic.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last 5.0 that was in the SN95 was pre-new edge.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
I
it was mine, the
had-
95,
yeah.
and then
I had
it
06,
stopped
07. I swore it was a 5.0, but probably not.
unless it was swapped. No,
No,
Yeah,
I just
it's
bought a
probably
brand.
so.
I mean, my uncle was a master Fortec, so anything's possible.
yeah, no, but there would be no sense to swap a 302, a 302 5 liter for my gen in there because mine from the
Yeah.
factory had 215, unless it was a 4 valve, and then it had I think 260s, 275.
Okay.
The Cobra engines.
Hmm.
So yeah, the 11s to 13s, in I believe 14 they switched. They did some updates to the engine. So and those cars are slightly newer, but fortunately they're Mustangs, so they don't hold their value high. But once they
Yeah.
level off, they kind of taper.
Yeah.
So that'd be my thing.
Nice.
That or
Good
like,
selection.
yeah, so.
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Nick,
That's.
follow down the
What do you
line
got?
here.
I mean, you see cars all day, every day. You could go. With
Yeah, I was gonna say
crazy-
I know.
you probably have a better
But as you can
estimation about
imagine,
15,000.
I don't see a whole lot of toys. So to
That's
speak,
not true.
that
You
come
almost bought
through.
one the other. You were considering buying one the other day.
Which one was that?
The Focus.
Oh, I get through so much. Yeah. So I.
Listen,
so,
you want a Nissan Altima. We all know it. Just come out and say it.
Let me
It's
tell
fine.
you. Let me tell you. Maybe like
Just
a
say it.
OG Sentra SER V-Spec.
There you go.
Just get the
Ultimate
G20.
That's-
If you're gonna do that,
Okay.
get the G20.
Ultimate
That
The
no
Infiniti G20 is
no the one that he's talking about actually is a non-turbo SR20 that came out from Nissan because it's the B15 chassis.
What year?
It's like
They
early
were like
2000s.
They were
Yeah.
early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Oh, so the ones that had the little body kit. They came in yellow and like
Sort of,
You
yeah.
saw, well, you, like, you saw
Yeah.
there was a lot that were like black, like red
Mhm.
accents on stuff like that. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure those came with non-turbos SR20s.
So if you go,
that's
if
not
you
my
go
choice,
even
by the
further,
way. That's just
if you go
so-
even
Nope,
further
that's it.
back,
It's locked in.
yeah,
No.
locked in.
You picked it.
The
No.
old Infiniti G20s are a SR20 turbo
yeah.
front wheel drive.
I think it's a Bluebird. I think it's called in Japan. It's a Bluebird.
The
I don't-
motor.
No, the car is actually called a
Oh,
Bluebird
okay.
in Japan.
Okay.
That's what I
And
call
they're
it.
like
I know,
a
I've
four-door.
heard that.
Come on,
It's
you,
That's what I
Yeah,
call it. I
I've-
don't get
yeah.
my way at night. But blue ball? No.
Blue label?
Well, Yeah.
Wrong type of blue. Wrong type of blue.
Dabba-dee, dabba-da.
Is it like funky, stinky foot blue? Like
Maybe.
No. Okay.
Ironically,
We're going down a weird rabbit hole.
We are.
For that.
The last thing
bunny.
I
Anyway.
am gonna say is it's just ironic that your wife's favorite color is blue. I'm just saying.
It is. That's why she does this to me.
You poor man. You poor
I
man.
know. Hence my blue label. But so realistically, for me, kind of getting to the point for me would probably be, I could probably find a Cayman S, early 2010s era, 6-speed. Maybe that 07,
You think in the
09.
15 range?
No.
I feel like 15's
You could find the Boxer, the Egg Eye Boxers.
Yeah,
but
Boxer,
not-
absolutely.
They're literally the same. They're the same car. One's a convertible, one's a hardtop. It's the only
Yeah.
difference.
People don't like convertibles.
People don't care about.
You
care about
literally
boxes.
just said pre-camera that you don't like convertibles, even though you
That's
do.
what I'm saying.
Funny
They're
enough,
basically the same.
funny enough,
enough.
talking to the man
Yeah.
that had 2 convertible Miatas.
The chassis, superior chassis, shitty top.
I have no problem with my top. I'm just saying.
Because it stays in the garage.
Wait,
That's true.
Yeah. So
That's true.
Anyway,
is that why you cut? Is that why you took scissors to the harness? You got mad at the top?
no, that top
Screw
was-
this top! I'm
that
gonna
top
chop
was
it up.
shredded. We already had it removed. That whole
Well,
top.
that was
So you
probably
matched
on
the
account of
wiring.
the cats.
basically, yeah. Anyway,
Man, you know,
so I-
okay,
I-
hold
I
on.
would look towards
I have
that
to
kinda-
interrupt you there because we could have saved that chassis because
Bro,
I
don't
bought,
even get me
You
started.
could've
Don't
saved
even
that.
I
get
could have
me
changed
started
it
on that
because
whole car.
I bought. Well, I have to add. Nick actually gave me his NA chassis and
After he had destroyed
NA
it.
Miata chassis, and I bought a wiring harness, a full wiring harness, full engine wiring
Yeah, you
harness
gave
for
up, sir.
$100.
You gave up. He gave up because you ruined it already.
No,
It's
no, no,
already
no, no,
ruined.
It
no.
was in his garage. safe-
No.
safe
You
and
what you
sound.
should have
The
done.
reason-
We're just gonna segue right away from.
Have
this.
we
You
gone
bought-
over the story? Do the
You
viewers
bought a
have
$400
background?
Miata from an old lady just as a service. $200. You basically got it for free, and then you paid to register, right? I don't even know if you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
what did you drive it? How many times did you actually drive the car? Maybe once.
From the dealership to
to
the
your
house,
and then
maybe around the
immediately
block
started
or
cutting.
something.
Well,
Yeah.
So
to all of our
$100
viewers out there,
every
this
time you turn
car.
over the keys.
I wish we
Yeah,
had
it's
some
like Turo,
pictures.
basically. Yeah.
Wish we had pictures of this car. I don't know if there
Oh,
were
I-
any pictures.
Actually,
of that.
pictures.
I have pictures of the
All right,
car.
well let's
A lot
let's
of
plug
pictures.
those in on here. But the car was an absolute disaster. But it
Yeah.
drove. It functioned. It worked. Could have easily been turned into something cool.
Yeah.
You should have just ripped all the panels off and drove it as a
Well,
car.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm just saying. I'm
Eric found a
throwing it out
buyer
there.
that was going to do exactly that. I think it became a go kart.
Yeah, actually,
should have. It was
no, it
perfect
did.
for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty
It
sure
did
it
become
was
a go-kart.
It didn't have a lick of rust on it. I don't think.
No, it didn't.
No, it's
So
pretty
the,
It just had
the body was fine. It was just dirty.
It just had a lot of
Really
cat shit
dirty.
on it.
Well, a lot of cat shit.
A lot,
so.
yeah.
And honestly, the person who did buy it did turn it into a Miata cart.
Good.
Shout out to Matthew Hall because he was the one that actually
Nice.
turned it
Yeah.
into a cart.
You
He was
should
the
put
one
up
that
some
got it.
photos. Since we put up photos of the pre, you should put up photos after he got it.
I
Or
Don't-
after he finished the build.
I don't know if he. I might have to reach out to him and get those
Yeah,
pictures
on Instagram or
because like
something.
I've got pictures of it when the panels were put back on the car, and then he put the panels back on the car, or then he took
Yeah.
them off.
Nice.
Yeah, that
But
was-
anyways.
that was a question.
Well, anyways,
But I don't-
back to
and
your
I-
back to your
I
selection.
still
Yeah.
think
$50
I can
And rent.
find a
And rent, yes.
09 to like 11 or 12 Cayman, maybe not an S, but definitely a Cayman with a 6-speed in that price range, that 15K price range, turnkey, ready to run. You know, that would be my top choice if I wasn't concerned about being able to fit the kids in the back.
That's true.
You know, at that point, that throws a lot of wrenches in there because I'm not really interested in older Mustangs or older Camaros or things of that nature.
Yeah, you're interested in a new Mustang. You work at a Ford dealership.
As,
You gotta
as-
embrace it.
as a toy, yeah, like a 1920. Talking like a $10,000 more budget. That's you know. Because here's the thing, and Eric understands this because my wife basically said it to him. She drove his Vet, and she enjoyed driving my slow as
Yeah.
shit G70 more, solely because both had stick shifts, both rear wheel drive. Obviously, the Vet was more powerful. The technology.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
the technology in a 20-year-old Ford, 15-year-old Ford, it isn't great compared to what it is now. So when you're used to that, and it's something that I want to drive more than maybe the weekends every now and then, that's kind of what we look to.
Could you just put like CarPlay and heated seats in there?
I don't care about the heated seats, just the bigger screen, the everything, without having to touch electrical stuff.
Let's-
That's the
you
last
stay
thing I
away
want to
from
mess
you
with.
stay away from electrical.
Let's be honest. Anything pre 2016 is not gonna have a lot of tech.
Right. That's
No.
what I'm saying. So we're talking
And
about
that's
sub
just how it
15.
is.
I just
But
want
we're
something
also
with
talking
great
like a
chassis,
fun-
LS
like a
capable.
Right, it's a
capable
fun car.
car
It's
for
not.
15
It's not a
grand.
car like.
Yeah.
It's not going to be
My
your
wife
daily
can't
driver.
drive stick,
Yeah.
and I would never
So
buy
I
an
guess,
automatic.
at
Mustang.
that budget, I'm in a 2-door, 2-seater only, no rear seats.
Locked
I'm
in.
looking at something like a Cayman or something like that.
All right. Well,
about you?
I've already had mine picked out because
I know what it is. No.
Yeah, no.
Are
Carmelo
you
probably
gonna
already
surprise
knows
me?
what it is because I've already looked at him, and I still continue to look at him as an option. But it's a C5 Corvette.
Yep.
Yeah.
The C5, what?
I'm surprised you have not mentioned the one car you and I talked about a while back.
What does
It's pretty much a Corvette, only it's got a backseat.
the GTO?
Yeah.
So that would be my number 2. My only complaint with the GTO is, I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be some haters out there that really hate me for saying it, but I really just don't like the aesthetics of it.
Really?
It's a funny shaped car. It's got really soft edges.
And
The wheels look really small.
It's a
like, I
round
don't-
car.
Have you,
It falls
have you
flat.
have you ever
It
driven
kinda
one?
falls
I have not.
I
have
drove a
not.
first gen 20 back in 2009, 2010, so an 04, 05. And what bothered me was the exterior color is inset in the seats, but also in the tech. So the background
Right.
Oh,
of the
really?
Yeah.
Speedo. So if you get yellow, you
Yeah.
get red.
It's
And
red. It's yellow.
I'm
it's
probably going to
yeah.
get some hate, but it was kind of a turnoff. Like, I like
Yeah.
red. It was red, and
Yeah.
it was just too much
Okay.
red.
Well, and also back then, the 04 had what? The 5.7?
It had a, yeah.
It had a 5. It was an
It,
LS.
it was a
LS1.
five. It was a five.
And then in
5.7 or
because you got the
Yeah.
hood scoops, and that meant
They
you knew
the
was a-
latter gens did have the 6-liter.
It was a 5.7 or a 6-liter. But let's be honest, cars from the early 2000s, there was a lot of things that these cars had that were a turnoff for us. Like cars from the early 2000s, like a car that's actually really badass today is the IS 300. Everybody is like, there's a bunch of people that are
Which gen?
Yeah.
The S.
the early
Well, it
2000s.
had a
So the
2J in it.
yeah.
It had a 2J. in it.
NA2. Yeah.
And-
and
2J.
and you
I
can
mean,
get it
that's-
manual, but
Yeah.
that was a car that started off having factory Altezza taillights. That's a turnoff for me. I don't like Altezza taillights.
But that's
Yeah.
where the Altezza, like the trend started with that car.
I know- I
hated
know that,
too.
but
I hated
but
that trend too. But
I would've-
I really did. I'm
I've
not gonna
almost
lie.
so right after I moved down here in 09 and 10, I guess it was 2010, right after I graduated the police academy and started looking for jobs. I almost bought 2 different ones. Unfortunately, all I could find were autos, and one was a wagon at Lincoln.
I actually
way
like.
back in the day.
I like the wagon.
Yeah, the
And
wagon
that-
was
that thing
cool.
is pretty
And
I don't
badass.
think you
had
could get a
those
manual
taillights.
though.
No,
With the wagon.
no, it was only
No,
auto.
it was only auto.
No,
right?
so
Yeah.
the only ones I could find were auto, and I backed out of the deal because it was an auto.
Yeah.
And I'd be lying to you guys and the viewers if I didn't regret it, because you could easily do a 2JZ swap.
Oh yeah.
With the turbo swap.
I literally
rather.
saw one listed like yesterday because I was like, "What's cool wagons?" And one of those popped up, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"But I
I've
don't
seen
need,
them
I don't
with
need a
an LS
project. I just
swap.
don't need a project."
Well, no, you have a project.
I
you don't
don't.
need another one.
That's
can you finish a
debatable.
project?
That's debatable.
So in school,
Cars-
did you finish
cars-
projects, or did
Carmelo.
other people finish them for you?
Carmelo,
I'm so
cars,
glad- I'm so
I'm
cars,
not finishing most things.
cars are like fucking Pokemon. You gotta catch them all, bro.
I mean, you joked about it earlier, but over 10 years, apparently, we've had 10 cars.
Dude, so
that
I-
can
I've had
recall.
9.
I-
I've
I-
had
Can
9.
I just be honest and say that I'm glad that we're literally sitting in front of the Miata right now and I'm not getting flamed for it. We're still flaming Nick about the Porsche, and it's literally
So
sitting right
I-
now.
But this
I
runs,
literally-
it
It
drives.
does. We could pull it out.
It might have a little quirk here and there, but it
doesn't
runs.
have air conditioning.
I
at the
had
moment, but-
I had a thought process literally like yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? I realize what my problems are because I keep trying to jump through cars. I get a little bit of stuff done to them. You know, I work on the Explorer, get it where I kind of like it.
I'm glad
and then
you
I'm
said
already
it,
ready to
'cause
jump.
we were all thinking
so
it,
you know,
so.
I was thinking about this dude because I was playing around. I was playing on the computer, and I was like, it clicked to me. I was like, I had the same problem when I would play WoW and RPGs and stuff. I'd get so far, I'd get through all the easy jumps, and when things got a little tougher
Get
or
bored.
more expensive, I would get bored. Then I'm like, fuck it, let me start something different. Let me try this
Yeah.
class. Let me try. So I'm basically doing the same thing with my cars, with the fact that for the last week I have been actively shopping for a fucking RS6 on auction sites that I could bring into my dealership and trade my car against.
Just buy what
and I
you
just
want.
cannot.
Just buy what you want.
Well, what I want is still 15 grand more than I'm willing to spend right now.
Yeah.
So that's the problem
So
I'm
just
having.
wait.
I'm just. And
I
that's
mean,
where,
interest
that's
rates
where
have
I'm at.
stabilized,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I've got
2
the
weeks.
2025 Explorer ST facelift on order already to arrive this summer. To swap mine out for that. So I'm probably just going to go that route, and then in the next 6 months to a year after that, start looking again, see what pops up. I don't even care
Yeah.
about an Audi exclusive color. I just want.
You can just wrap it.
And that's the thing. I really just. It's the car. It is the car itself. And
So we started this conversation talking about $15,000.
I know.
And
And
now
now
we're
we're
talking
talking
about
150K.
RS. Now we're talking about
Dude,
RS6s.
right, like-
all right.
Yeah.
So,
80 to 95.
so
That's
what I have noticed is at times you don't have bougie taste, but deep down you love German cars. Forget Hyundai. Forget that you worked at, you know.
I mean,
He's
Hyundai,
pretty bougie.
I test
Right,
drove
I mean,
that. I drove
GM.
that 7 Series yesterday that I was thinking about buying.
But
so-
you have, I don't know. You're not German, right?
yeah.
Okay, so maybe you have some inherent
'Cause
bias.
I definitely
towards
can't
that.
afford. Well, I can afford like Alphas, but I don't want one of those.
Those are Italian.
Yeah, it's Italian. What are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
wait. If you
No,
want to
that's what I'm
lease a
saying. If I'm looking
quadrifolio,
at that.
absolutely, but don't try
Even
to.
those I heard train wreck mechanically. So
I said lease it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
Lease it, so if there's a problem, they give you keys.
Yeah.
And
So
You're in a
let's
rental.
let's
Yeah.
let's
So
like
let's
let's
segue
we,
back
we
where-
got back on the C5.
let's
back to the
let's
important.
let's let Mike finish. But I do just want to say your time is coming, hairdresser. I'm just saying. Anyways.
Oh, I know it is. She's done me good. All right, so back.
Hair's not the only thing you blow in that thing.
No, there's not enough room to blow anything else. So trust me. You've ridden in that car with me in a bear costume.
For a while, by myself.
Weirdly enough,
It's like a
we're not
freak.
going to go down that rabbit hole in this episode. But
We all
Well-
the rabbit. We'll
we'll
go
touch on that
down.
later, right?
We'll go down that rabbit hole
was it
later.
so
Halloween?
anyway-
was it a Halloween thing?
It was a Halloween.
It was,
thing,
okay.
Yes.
And I think we had to go get more alcohol to go back to a party or something. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
The
whole
other
reason
Didn't we
was-
actually go to the store with
The
you
whole
wearing
reason was
a bear
because
costume?
you were taking an extended test drive in what eventually became your Elantra.
Ah, that's true.
and I
That's
was
true.
bringing that back home.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
The other the other
you
rabbit
drove
hole
me
you have
out
to
of
go
with
on
the convertible top
is
down as a
when
Bear costume.
With the
yes,
head and
full,
everything?
full,
With
full.
the hood.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. We were
And-
blasting
and
down Gateway Boulevard. It
balls.
was awesome.
the
I
other
drove
rabbit
from the
hole.
dealership to
You
here.
like waving at people. I
Yeah.
can see you
People
throwing
waving
it.
at me constantly. Like,
That's funny as shit. The other rabbit hole you gotta
gotta
go
recreate
down.
We gotta regroup here about that.
The other rabbit hole you gotta go down is eventually at one point once that topic comes up is when you and Nick were in the slingshot together. Anyways, proceed on with the C5.
Oh, that's true. All right.
Were
So,
there any
so
costumes
anyway,
or
back
was
to
there
the
any animal
50.
costumes
No, there
in the
wasn't.
slingshot?
All right,
Okay.
we're gonna move on now. It's getting real awkward.
Not
So for the $15,000 price point, I'm gonna stick to my selection with the C5. I've actively shopped for that car. I've looked for that car. Locally, they are available. Some of them, nicer models, especially if you get up to like the Z06, they're going to be around 20 or slightly
20,
over.
22.
You can find some decent, decent base C5s out there for around 15 grand. Weirdly enough, the manual, the
Yeah.
6-speed's kind of tough to come across. It does have the 5.7 liter in it, so it's it
does.
kind of lacks in power. It's only about 350, I think, 350 horsepower. But
weighs nothing.
I've seen it weighs nothing, but I have seen a lot of really good feedback from like major, news outlets as far as like Car and Driver stuff like that. They've done articles about this exact conversation that we're having, and like the C5 always comes up just because it's it is a capable chassis.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to squeeze out a little bit more horsepower from them, and I'm not gonna lie, I follow a Facebook group that's like modified C5s, and you can make that car look so good. And it's got the pop-ups.
So I see
mean,
one
come
on
on,
McGregor.
I'm the
Just
auto
had
guy.
Japanese
It's got-
wheels to it.
it's
Just
got-
had Japanese wheels to it.
Dude, I'm
on the
telling
way-
you, I'm
on
an
the way into
aftermarket
work-
wheel guy, so it's.
I see one on McGregor. It's red. It has polished wheels, and I'm not a big chrome or polish guy. And it has aftermarket headlights that are like the double bubble headlights.
Oh, I don't like that.
Those are not my
The
favorite.
don't
way,
like
but
those.
the way that this one looks, it's so clean. It's lowered. I'm assuming
shot.
coilovers. Couldn't do that again, could you?
Probably not now.
But
Did you even know where the trash can was? You just.
I looked first. I did.
but it looks so clean. And I'm not
Dude,
a fan
I-
of the headlights either.
man,
but the way that this is done,
I'm not gonna lie, even without going wide body, because a lot of people will, they'll cut the fenders out or they'll put aftermarket fenders on. Even without going wide body, if you lower that thing like the right amount with some nice wheels on it, they just look phenomenal. They're just badass looking.
Well, and
cars.
depending on your reason for it, like, again, if you're using it for a toy autocross,
Yeah,
you don't need
and
all
it's-
the extra power.
No, you really don't. I mean, 350 in
even
a
even for a
The
basic
right
track
tires
day,
alone,
Yeah.
you're done.
yeah, a basic
Exactly.
track day, even if you were to do the club circuit at Sebring, even Homestead Miami, you don't need all that power.
no.
I
Especially
don't
coming from a Miata with 130
Oh, yeah.
horsepower.
But-
That's gonna be a big jump for people.
No.
This
Absolutely.
sounds
But-
crazy coming from me, but I understand that brakes are more important than the power in some aspect in those scenarios.
Well, and
Now
and
that
here,
goes
Have you
here
against-
upgraded
here's
the
another
brakes?
here's
Have you
another
thought about upgrading
interesting.
the brakes in your Explorer since you've significantly upgraded
yes,
the power.
they make a kit to put the GT350R calipers on the front, and I have considered that now with the new one coming in, probably on the new one, because the brakes on that thing shake after the first heavy braking
Oh, I'm
session.
sure.
The
They
whole
gotta
thing
heat up.
is.
They
We
gotta
should
heat
we
up
should at least upgrade the
massively.
rotors and pads.
Yeah.
And then you can
R1
swap them.
R1's
You
back,
can,
man.
do it
Yeah.
on this one, and then you can just pull them and swap them to the next one.
Wait, hold on.
Stuff to go through.
real quick, don't you have
Topics that we're learning about it.
don't you have CTSV brakes? All four?
So I have ATS, and they're ATS/CTSV. Only in the fronts. The rears, I haven't installed them yet because I'm lazy.
For what? For the Mustang?
For the Mustang, yeah.
ATSV.
Yep.
Really?
So there is
Everybody
a
does the
company.
CTSV swaps.
Yep.
I
So
can get those for the Elantra, weirdly enough.
yeah,
Maybe.
and all
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you do them, let me know because it's kind of a pain. You got to
Yeah.
tap the bushings out,
Oh,
and
right.
you got to put new bushings in so they fit the angle.
Yeah.
There's a guy with CNC Engineering that basically a guy he works at a CNC shop builds them for the Ranger, the Mustang, and a couple other chassis. And they're phenomenal. My issue is I ordered brakes, but because I had the Frankenstein to build, I ordered the wrong pads. So I ended up just going to AutoZone and throwing just regular AutoZone pads in.
Right.
And now that I have the new pads, I just haven't installed them.
So,
But
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I am running
Like the
this
Elantra's not something I have any. I don't need to upgrade the brakes on that.
No,
That's
it's
not,
a
that's my
daily-
daily
it
driver.
gets 30 plus miles per
it's
gallon.
It's the
You
workhorse
have
at this
an
point.
amazing interest rate.
Exactly. So
What interest
it's getting zero. So, but I'm that's gonna get paid off. It's just gonna be the
Right.
daily. But I'm just gonna close out. Back to the C5. The one thing that I can say about that car specifically is there are still very affordable parts for it. So I think that's
There's
that's
still a Corvette tax on
that's a slippery slope though, because when you get to a car, even a lot of cars that we're talking about a $15,000 price point,
Yeah.
you get to a point where they stop making stuff for it. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, my Miata's kind of going down that rabbit hole.
Really?
I had
As
to I
popular as that
had to
car is.
replace a window switch in this thing, and it cost $250 to get the window switch.
Ooh.
I mean, for something as simple as a little window switch for
You
their
would
power
think-
windows, but
you would think it's Mazda. They would put that in the same
you would,
switch would
you
be
would
in 3 or
think,
4
man, but
different cars.
they're just these manufacturers are just not
Well-
producing it anymore.
generations it is now, and how
Yes.
many
Yeah.
iterations of owners Mazda as a company has gone
Exactly.
through this
Yeah.
point.
And I
So,
hate to say it, but there's not a lot of really high quality
after
Miatas out
the-
there that are looking, and
that's the
aftermarket
thing.
companies are making it.
Manufacturers by law have to keep a 10-year
10-year.
stock. So
Yeah.
after that,
No,
it gets,
I get that. It's just I'm surprised with the
Yeah.
cult following. Again, Mazda, and you guys might not like
I know.
this, but you guys are failing. I mean, the Zoom, like that's
Well,
where your people are.
Well, it's
Zoom,
funny
zoom,
is
right there.
You speak about that. You can buy a GTR, an R32, and send it to Nissan, have the whole damn thing refurbished apparently now, and
Wow,
basically
that's
rebuilt.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Or
but hey,
you can upgrade it and send it to Nismo, and they'll do the same. Redo
True.
the
Yeah.
welds. I mean, they will strip it down. A rotisserie rebuild.
Yeah.
There's a couple of popular YouTubers that are actually doing that now, where they actually specialize in just like revamping or like doing, just I guess you could say like renovations for like these cars. One of them is a really big one. I'm not gonna name drop him, but like he's up in, I think he's in, up in Connecticut area, where he specializes in like just like redoing GTR so that they're back up to like OEM spec, like OEM colors, OEM options, and things like that. Like he can even like add extra stuff. So like this dude has like a whole catalog of like nothing but like Nissan and Nismo GTR parts, just like
That's awesome.
sitting in a warehouse. But yeah, it's comes with a hefty price tag
Of
oh,
course.
sure.
because it's
Well, yeah,
it's
I
a
mean,
GTR.
and the thing is, if he's the go-to in the east side of the United States, because I'm sure there's somebody out in California as a competitor, he's getting cars from all over the U.S. He's gonna charge a premium because he has
Yeah.
a unique skill and a unique
Yeah.
ability.
Yeah.
Well,
of course.
I mean, he's pretty like you can find him pretty easily because you had two really big name people actually renovate or redo or renew refurbish. Thank you. The GTR for him. One of them was hurt. The other one was Larry Chen. They sent their personal cars to this guy up in Connecticut. He refurbished them, did what he needed to do, did paint matching stuff here with OEM colors. But again, this dude charges a freaking premium
Well,
because
I mean,
he's a specialist for like
to that
cars.
point
Yeah.
though, like if you've got the money, I don't. I would love. There's a lot of things that I would love to just get refurbished on this and call it a day, and it'd be a perfectly working car.
Yeah.
But I can't afford that necessarily, or maybe I don't want to spend the money on it, even if I could afford it.
Well, that's
but
the thing.
the companies that do offer that, and I mean that's an awesome way to do it.
Yeah.
Throw your car on the back of a flatbed, send it there, have it
6,
come
9
back
months
as a
later, it
brand
comes
new
back.
car.
Yeah.
Brand new car.
Yeah,
that's,
and to
that's
your
awesome.
point, if you're buying a GTR right now, it's
Yes.
being imported. You've got some money.
You've
The
got money to
market for that.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
But anyway, Eric.
Yes.
Talk about your car.
What's your 15K car? 'Cause you have
$15,000,
unique taste.
buddy.
I'll throw this out there for the viewers. You have taste that sometimes is on par with me, sometimes with Mike, and on occasion with Nick. So
I would say you tend to lead more JDM than the rest of us, though, for the most part.
It's really funny that you're saying that because my choice would not be JDM.
Oh, all right.
Because it's funny. Because it's funny because you went American, and you went German. Wait, what did you pick again?
Cayman.
Oh, the Cayman.
So 15 grand.
Well, I would
you
pick
buying?
honestly. I would pick either an E36 or E46 BMW.
Really? No,
I
you're
would.
good. All right.
Ideally,
You've talked about.
I've tossed the idea around, but I would ideally pick maybe a 330i because they come with a better motor.
So you wouldn't go for like a E46, like a higher mileage E46 M3?
Oh,
'Cause
and
those
M3s are stupidly priced. They're way past 15 grand. Like I've seen M3s costing
we're not talking,
well
we're not
into
talking
the 20
clean
grand.
title. They could have a crash or two on it.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, I've still
add a
seen them
couple
high
more,
price.
You're gonna drive sideways anyway with it, so why not have the chassis be a little sideways?
Well, no, you need a
So
straight
then you could be
chassis.
sideways
Kidding.
while you're
Kidding.
sideways.
You need it. You
I
need
can
a
be
pretty
sideways.
straight chassis.
Can I just pause? You might want to introduce this new beverage that we
Yes.
just brought to the table.
Well,
so
yeah.
just,
So I
just
did
not to
mention-
cut air
So
off
while
or
we were
anything.
talking, I was pouring it again. Special bottle for Year of the Dragon, Johnny Walker Blue Label. This is just simply their top line. I mean, there's some special King George editions that are more expensive and stuff, but your standard Blue Label is kind of their top normal thing that you can find at a liquor store relatively easily. So yeah, it's just a great, supposed to be very smooth, well-aged Scotch, and like I said, this is kind of our celebration. So.
Cheers.
Cheers again.
Cheers.
See, I do the tap. I'm just making you guys think I'm gonna shoot it. Oh yeah, peaty. Very peaty.
A little
Obviously,
smoky too.
Scotch may not be for everybody, but
A little smoky too.
yeah,
Like it.
that's that.
So
I-
anyway, divulge a little bit more on your BMW thought.
Before
here.
I do, I want to add that between the two bottles that me and Nick brought and we're drinking, it's like $500 worth of alcohol right now. It's a little up there.
To do it big for the first.
Yeah, we kind of want to do it big for the first in person.
We're gonna drink all of it.
Well, no,
All $500
no,
worth?
Shots.
I mean-
Mike's got the idea. Cheers.
Yes.
We've probably drunk
This is for
Yeah, I
when
know,
we're done
we've-
with these glasses. We got the
We've had
makers
some.
down
We've
here.
had some.
I mean-
We've had some pretty good pours.
That was
I'll be
actually-
real, I couldn't do shots of the blue.
that was
Yeah,
really
no,
good too.
no.
But I think once I'm done with this, I might crack open that whistle pig that you brought me.
Yeah.
I like it.
You've drunk that on the podcast quite a bit.
I can't. I swore you've had that before. So yeah, you're gonna pop that bad boy.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I would do the E46 or the E36. I kind of like. I mean, a lot of people do the E36 chassis because they call it the superior chassis. But out of the two, but I'm a big fan of the E46. I almost bought an E46 a couple years ago, but the dude that I messaged was up in Port Charlotte or Punta Gorda.
Yeah.
I messaged him and I'm like, "Yo, when are you selling this? Or when can I come see this?" He's like, "Well, when are you free?" And I'm like, I'm free tomorrow. I'll bring cash." I was literally gonna drive up
Yeah.
and give him the full amount because it was a 4-door manual transmission E46 with low mileage, and I was gonna slide it. Obviously, this is way before I bought my Corvette.
And you said it was a manual?
It was a manual.
Actually, I remember when you were talking about.
It was a silver one.
What was it? Was this one modified already?
No, it was bone stock. That's
So
why
I
wanted
remember.
it.
I remember a while ago on Facebook Marketplace there was a BMW that you could already tell it had the guy had modified
this
it.
was-
It had
this was
it
bone
had a
stock.
hydro. It had the whole.
No, not that one. No, this
No.
was.
You
bone
remember which
stock.
one I'm talking about? I feel like I sent it to you and it was like 'cause
There's-
this was a while. This was 2 years ago maybe.
BMWs are highly drifted, especially there's a shop here locally. I have their
Cheap
sticker on my car.
manual rear wheel drive.
Yeah, cheap manual rear-wheel drive. You can even get Nick doesn't like the convertibles, but they're the Z3s and the Z4s. Great chassis. They're pretty much the German version of an S2000. They're great chassis.
Why not a German Miata?
Because
Because
that
that's the
2000 is better
Boxster.
than the Miata.
I don't know. man.
Now, Eric.
I didn't
one
say
guy-
it.
we're gonna-
He
yeah,
did.
we'll go
I
down
didn't
a-
say
we'll go
it.
down a
I'm
rabbit
the
hole
jerk,
here.
you guys. Throw the hate this way.
We'll go
Come
down a
on.
rabbit hole. It's all right.
So the 330 4-door manual E46 E40 chassis. Does that have anything to do with Top Gear when they bought one and did a 12 or 24 hour? I think they did a 24-hour race in one.
No, it had nothing to
So
do
it
with
had
it.
nothing to do with that.
I
'cause
honestly
that
did
was-
not even remember
Okay, 'cause
remember that until
that was
you
a
just mentioned
distinct
it.
thing where I'm like, this car had 100 plus
No.
thousand kilometers. They put a cage. They met whatever requirements they needed. They
Right.
ran it, and it barely made it to the end, but it made it.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it
I mean,
was
that's impressive
all,
for-
you know, it was the three hosts driving it,
Yeah.
and they abused the hell out of it because they're not race car drivers, they're presenters.
Yeah.
And we love them, but
Oh yeah.
you know, it's just
That's
one of
part
those
of it.
things that it was, and I was like, dang, that car's resilient because they changed the brakes, they did minor
Oh.
things in the scheme of everything.
Yeah.
But so, truth be told, I've always loved the E46 M3.
Yeah.
Even before Need for Speed, and I forget which one it was, Most Wanted or whatever. Like
Oh god, yeah. Those,
Yeah.
Wanna-
those were. in
But that was a
there.
GTR
Absolutely.
though. That was called the
Yeah, but we didn't get
M3
that state
GTR.
size.
Yeah,
we didn't get that
yeah,
state
we
size.
didn't.
But a buddy of mine, his dad in high school, or when I was in high school, had an '04 back. This was like '07. He paid like 23 grand cash. I don't know how he got an amazing
Yeah.
deal on it. It wasn't the Silverstone silver, but it was that darker silver that they had, and it was beautiful. Just hearing it screaming, you know, his dad was, you know, in his early 40s, midlife crisis type thing, and would just hammer it, aftermarket exhaust, and would just hammer it. That car was beautiful. And then a few years ago, my buddy Frank, he ended up accidentally or unintentionally winning the VinWiki auction red E46 that was an SMG converted to a manual
Oh nice.
and supercharged.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
I remember you talking about that.
And I remember he texted me, he's like, hey, like I accidentally won this. Like, it's awesome. And I'm like,
That's kinda
sweet,
cool.
you're going to go meet, you know, the Ed Bolian at VinWiki and, you know, do the delivery and everything. And
Yeah.
they drove it, him and his wife, him and Janelle, who are great friends of mine, drove it down. And
Are they the ones
loved
that
it.
we usually meet at Sebring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
He,
nice.
he
Oh, that's
works
right.
at, what's the name of
Mercedes
the...
now, isn't he?
No, he works at the...
He used to be at AutoQuest.
The Porsche
He's
place.
at AutoQuest. Yeah, he's
Oh,
the,
oh,
the
AutoQuest,
head,
AutoQuest.
or what do they call the head tech? Like the
Master
the
tech?
master,
Master tech or
master, or
whatever.
the shop foreman
Yeah.
over there.
I swore you knew
And-
Mercedes or something recently
No,
or something.
no,
Oh, okay.
he's been there and he's been there. I mean, good for him. Shout out to Frank. He started out, you know, entry level work and worked his way up.
Oh, yeah.
He has, and people will specifically go there to get work done by him. He's a phenomenal,
Nice.
like mechanic or
Yeah.
almost borderline engineer, like
Yeah.
technician.
Oh, yeah,
or,
at that point.
You know,
Well,
at that point,
yeah.
he works
He's working on
GT3s,
GT, yeah, he's
GT4s,
working on race
RSs all day.
So Frank's a great guy, and I'm sure the cars he works on are beautiful. But the owner she has phenomenal taste. She has a green RS6,
They had
pretty
two.
sure with a cognac interior, and it is just like,
Prior.
oh man.
It's-
I'm married, but she's got good taste. She's got very good taste.
Just for the RS6.
I'm
though?
gonna-
Is that what you're-
I'm gonna
Not
laugh.
the GT3s
And
or
the
anything.
part ownership of the AutoQuest would be nice
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
But
gonna-
I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, stepping away from that, being respectful. I mean, it's
she's got a beautiful car. She got
beautiful
great taste.
business. I
Amazing,
mean,
yeah.
I remember being a kid. My dad and I would go because they would have. They stepped away from sales after I moved away in '04. But they used to do sales, and they would have the most random but amazing, like I don't want to call them supercars, but like sports cars. Back in the day, they would have the unique like. I remember they had a GT2 back in like I think it was like 2003, 2000 maybe 4 or 5, and they would leave their lot where you could walk it,
Yeah.
and you know it would have the price tag on it and everything.
Yeah.
In their showroom, they'd have Ferraris before you could see Ferraris and Lamborghinis on every corner. I mean, in Cape Coral, we see them all over the place, and unfortunately, it's kind of like killed the specialness for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, you're always down in Naples.
Oh my
like,
god.
you
Yeah, I
see
was
a
gonna say
Urus
try
here.
being in Naples
Right,
every day.
like-
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, every
Yeah,
time,
it's
every
not-
time my
Yeah.
neighbor across the street opens the garage, there's an Aventador and an R8 Spider sitting right there.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
that's right.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Why?
Yeah.
They're basically the same car. I mean, one's a convertible.
Well, every couple of years.
Aventador's.
So
Oh no, the
No,
Aventador.
the
I was thinking
Aventador is
of the
V12.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
no,
It's
they're,
just-
they're, they're
yeah.
from like Minnesota or something. They got a company that's very successful. So some years there's an Aventador, some years it's a McLaren 720. Depends on what they bring back down with them. The cars don't stay here when they're back up north.
Oh,
They
okay.
do
They go with
trailer
them.
it up. Yeah. So,
Yeah, talking about Naples though. Oh my god, it is
Oh,
just
yeah.
everywhere,
But-
especially this time of year in season. It's
but I mean,
nuts.
I
even in the
mean,
Cape,
yeah,
we're
you
starting
guys
to see-
weren't there, but
Well,
cars
no,
on
yeah,
Fifth.
cars on
yeah.
Fifth,
That
I
was crazy.
regret not being able to make it to that one, but that's a fantastic event. But
Yeah, I had some family things I had to take care of, or else I would have been down there.
yeah,
It was crazy because I was there last year, and one of the things that kind of bothered me was there was a lot of copy and paste of the same color combos, and now
Yeah.
I kind of get where a lot of YouTubers now are special ordering stuff. Like once they get to a certain
with
point,
obnoxious
Oh, yeah.
colors.
With obnoxious
Oh, yeah.
colors,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would.
like for instance, like
Either
there's a
they
guy-
either they special order them or they just wrap them in crazy colors. Because like one person
Which-
that
I do that
wrapped
too.
a insane car
Mm-hmm.
was the Stradman,
Yeah.
yeah.
which he
Koenigsegg.
just got his Koenigsegg Agera,
Yeah.
right? Was it an
Yeah,
Agera that
I
he
think
got?
so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he
HH,
wrapped
right?
Huh?
No, it's called the HH or something like that.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But he freaking wrapped it in pink.
Well, no, he bought it that way.
Oh, yeah, no, he did buy it.
No,
I think he bought it that way.
he wrapped it. He bought it and
he's
he
got
wrapped
another car in
it.
the same color that he wrapped. I think. I think he bought the HH
No.
because I saw pictures of that car before he bought it in that color.
No, he
Well-
bought it and wrapped it.
You sure?
It was wrapped before he bought it, but
Well-
he paid for that wrap
Okay.
because it was already
So maybe
like
that's what it was because I know
yeah.
before he officially owned it, it had a wrap done to it. So that could be it. It could
Yeah.
have been as it was prepping for his sale. So
yeah.
Well, going back to Cars on Fifth, I mean, just looking at the footage you took and some of the pictures you took, there was a lot of crazy unique cars there this year.
Oh
that
my
I mean,
God, dude.
just the amount of, I mean,
was
yeah,
surprised.
there's always a lot of Porsches there, but to
Yeah.
your point, they're usually really cookie cutter.
Right, they're
It's
cookie
factory
cutter,
color, like you know,
Porsches,
whatever
like
the color
Ferraris, there's
category.
like 7 red, a couple yellow,
Yeah.
silver, white.
No, like what?
nothing
So-
there was
special or
some
unique.
really interesting cars there this year.
So-
and really, really expensive ones as well. But I mean, it's-
Don't get me wrong. A lot of the cars, especially like the and it's kind of weird to say
Well, I'm
this
sure you
because
didn't
like
take a picture of everything there, of course. But
I didn't, but like even in regards to like the GT3s that were there,
yeah,
they're all cookie cutter cars because there were so many that are just like your basic generic colors. Like there was no GT3 RS there. I mean, like, and we all love GT3 RSs. Like we all want like a fleet of them,
Yeah.
but there was not one that was there that was what is it, the paint to match from Porsche. None of
Yeah,
them were
paint
paint to
to sample
match
stuff.
or paint to sample.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of them were that. Like they were
They're
all like
standard catalog colors.
they were all standard catalog colors, and I'm like,
Which
bro,
is crazy
what the
because,
hell?
I mean, you pay more for the painted sample, but at the point where you're buying a GT3,
But it's so unique.
what
It's
does it
one
matter?
of one at that
Yeah,
point.
That's what I'm saying. What is
I
it
mean,
at that
don't-
point?
yeah.
Shit, like
It's
one
like
of
an
the
extra flat
podcasts.
5K fee no matter what color you pick
Yeah.
plus the color.
Like,
to
me
do
and
that.
Nick-
Or at least BMW's individual programs like 5K. So
Yeah.
it's probably similar, but like at that point,
Why
it's
not?
$3
Well,
grand, why not?
yeah,
Yeah,
Why
well,
not?
Nick,
Exactly.
you and I like went through this really, really deep rabbit hole pre and post podcast one day, and we
Yeah.
kind of went into it like during one of the podcasts where like
Specifically on a GT3 touring.
we did do a GT3 touring, but
Yeah.
the pencil sample that we did, holy shit, like there was
Oh, the
so
amount of
many
colors.
fucking
In
good
every-
colors.
Oh no, it's
So
like the
many
whole
shades.
spectrum, isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Can't you
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much
Oh my
pick
Yeah,
any
you
God.
can, you can
code that
choose
want?
any. I mean,
Yeah.
you could send them a paint code or a sample, and
Yeah.
they'll match it. And the weird thing
for
is,
$5,000. On top
No,
of that,
it's
it
more.
starts at
It's
the start.
it's
I mean,
more.
because
Something
you,
like
you
that.
got to think if there's flake or candy, it's gonna. It's
Yeah.
gonna
Well,
go
actually, so
but I mean, we're talking on 300. You're already
Right.
shelling out
What-
300.
what's
Yeah,
another
what's
25
5 or
grand?
10 grand, right?
Well,
20.
at
Yeah,
25.
at that point.
It's less than 10% of the
Yeah.
price.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be a
But-
one-off color.
but
Right. And it's gonna be a one of one. And that's
But-
the thing is like it's so
Well,
unique.
you have to think it's not whether it's like flaky or what. It's I think what you and I looked at it. It's metallic or non-metallic.
Correct. It's either gloss or metallic.
Yeah, it's either gloss
They
or
call it
Oh,
non.
so they don't do
metallic,
candies. So it's not
Right.
It's a paint the sample, but within a certain.
There's
Yes.
still like
Okay.
180 options or something like that.
Right, but
Oh
some
my
people
god,
search
it was
that.
obnoxious.
So I don't know if you guys watch anything from like John Tamarian or Curated, but he's a local guy down in Miami. He has a dealership that specializes in typically Lamborghinis, Diablos, and Countachs.
Okay.
And he'll bring in. I've watched a lot of stuff, but his stuff is unique because he'll explain that like it's one of 4 SVJs, of this or SVs, and he'll go into like the catalog and the package, and that makes me, even if I were to go to Ford and get a Mustang, like looking at my GTS, and I'm not saying my car's worth any more than the next 95 next to it, but it's a GTS, so it has a sound deadening delete. It was basically like the affordable version of a GT of that year. It was a couple grand
Right.
cheaper. The options were a spoiler, but if you got the spoiler, you got cruise control, or you could get a CD player and fog lights. But those were the 2 options, and you couldn't get the packages together. But of that, like one of the things that made me buy my car was it was one of 2,400 built between 94 and 95 in a manual. Then you get into the color, and it ends up being like one of like 700 or 800 in red, and then there's 3 different.
Damn.
There's 2 different reds of that year, and to most people it doesn't matter, but it shows how unique cars, even massively produced, can be.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
at that
I get
point,
it.
I'm just kind of sitting there like, if I were to spend anything north of 100K, and I know like every now and then I tell you guys like I flirt with it, moving some funds around. Even if I were to do like an RS3, that is too small for me, but at one point I was seriously considering. I would do that paint to sample.
I've been right there considering it with you. Yep.
I would order it new. I'd do the Euro delivery, do it, in my opinion, do it right, and have it transported back, be without a car for a little bit, But make it unique.
Yeah.
Because there's so much copy and paste, and I'm not just talking, the Maximas, the Camrys, the Accords, the Civics.
Listen,
but-
don't get me wrong. Nardo Gray is awesome, but if
it
you
is.
have the option,
Right.
you
and
can get a little more.
Well, I think
creative.
it's only like $4 or $5 for that. If
Yeah.
you're spending 62, 65,
When I
what
was
is 70?
when I was searching the RS6 the other day, 1 out of every 4 or so was Nardo.
I love the color.
Like,
It's
oh,
a
it looks
phenomenal
great.
looking
But-
gray.
but
As weird as that sounds,
I've seen a trend
phenomenal gray.
on some of the ones I've seen that are privately owned. I've seen a trend that now kind of makes sense. A lot of the ones I've seen out there that are custom wrapped are Nardo underneath.
Do you want some of this?
Well,
I think people are buying them in Nardo because it's such a
try it?
classic color that
No, I
it'll
haven't.
age
It'll
value,
age
and then
well.
they're doing
Right.
something crazy to protect
Yeah.
it, and a crazy
Yeah.
color from the outside.
So I mean, Nardo, passing it down.
I got my own.
Nardo is
drank a lot of
amazing.
that.
But just the color combo alone of Nardo with black wheels, black trim,
Yeah.
or when we're talking cars like that, carbon
Right.
fiber.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So,
just
yeah.
it is just a phenomenal combination. But at the same point, there is way more creative things that you can do with the
yeah.
spectrum.
And
Like Merlin purple.
well, yeah, or the
That's a
green. They have
great
they-
color.
So you know what? Why don't we segue into that? Because that was
I mean,
another-
we're already there.
That
We're
was
already there.
another question that we have been flirting with the idea of doing on the podcast. Why don't we talk about what is all of everybody's here favorite factory available paint color?
Oh,
Any
Now,
factory.
does it have to be the actual
Well,
color name, or
factory
can we say it was
available?
on this car this year?
Yeah, it doesn't.
'Cause I don't- I'm bad with names.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not gonna fact check you.
Okay.
But, I mean, just whatever color you choose. So that's a tough one.
Well, first off, before we
I will
segue,
say Nardo Gray is already on my list, but I've got
Can I
some others
before
as
you
well.
before you select
Hold
that?
on,
Let me
hold
say
on.
one thing, or go ahead, Eric. But
hold
after
on.
you.
Before we segue into that, the reason why I chose the E36 or the E46 is because
Oh, yeah,
it's
sorry.
such a diverse chassis because you can autocross it, you can drift it, you can do some form of racing with it.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose that one.
Shenanigans.
But anyways, that's why I chose that one. But factory color, what was that green color that you and I looked at?
Jade.
No, the Porsche one.
It was the Porsche Racing
Which
Green.
also
Porsche
comes,
Racing
is that
Green.
the flake? There's metal flake in it because that comes on the RS6.
It's gloss.
So that's
No.
Okay, so
no,
that's a
no,
different
no,
one.
no, no,
No.
no. British Racing Green had gloss. The Porsche Racing Green had metallic flake in it.
Oh, yes,
They were
yes.
so similar, but the
Oh.
Porsche
And they
had
make
flake.
it, but they make it. So
It looks
AutoQuest had a
awesome.
green one with the flake at one point.
Ugh.
No.
It was beautiful.
This is
It-
probably not even like a color that you've seen because like this is like I've never
It's
seen
a
a
dark-
Porsche
Is it a
this
dark
color.
green?
It's just like
a dark
British
green.
Racing Green. It's a darker green, but it has a lot of metallic flake in it.
Yes,
So
we shared it on the podcast here one of these past 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, it is a glorious color, and just because we're talking about it, I'd be up in the air on 2 different things, right? Like that kind of shade of green specifically, with like that
Sounds good.
cognac or brown interior,
And it
just
is
I love that
is
brown
awesome.
interior.
But my other choice, like if I was going to order an RS6, I keep going around the idea
It's
of this.
good though,
My
right?
factory color would probably be Merlin purple.
That's different. I
That
like
dark
that.
metallic purple, just
Mar-
Merlin purple, is just
So,
wild looking. I love
Weirdly
it.
Hold
enough,
on.
I don't know that I could ever own a purple car.
Right.
Not that I have anything against purple. It's just
I would-
it's kind of a wild color.
And that's,
But, like,
that's exactly
But
why
I love
read it.
looking at them.
It
Well,
looks
what
so
about the
good.
Challengers? The Challengers came
Plum
in
Crazy.
the
Hell
Plum
Raisin.
Crazy.
Well, Hell Raisins and
Oh,
Hell
well, yeah,
Raisin was different,
yeah.
but the Plum Crazy had more flake in it.
Yes, it was a
Yeah.
little bit
And-
darker
and-
too.
Right, and I almost bought one. My wife talked me out of it. That was another one. It was like one of 264 built that year. Through forums and stuff, I found it.
Yeah.
I was like, babe, I'm buying it.
I
I had
love
a
it, man.
shaker. It was a scat pack.
It's awesome.
But no, so before I forget, what killed the Nardo Gray for me was it started out as a Porsche color. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But it started Porsche, trickled down to Audi, and then for the Mark 8 GTIs, they had a gray that was basically Nardo Gray, slightly brighter. It was a
Okay.
slight color contrast.
I think I know what you're talking
but
about.
it was
kinda
the same
more
base.
ceramic-y kind of color. Because
Yes.
Nardo's darker than most people I think actually realize.
But
Yeah,
side by
it's pretty
side,
dark.
because when I was looking,
Yeah.
that was my ideal color before I settled for the black. Was it Black Pearl or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Midnight Black Pearl. But I was looking for that color, and at that point, if I could get it on a base GTI, not talking trash because that's what I had, it's not special anymore. If you
Yeah.
can get it on three different...
No, it's definitely not special. And I mean, it's I don't want to say it's played out because I don't think that's the right word. But like even Dodge has a version of the same color.
Yes.
You know, I think they
It's
call
the
it
Stingray
Battleship.
Gray or Battleship.
I think it's
Yeah,
Battleship
Stingray
with
Gray.
Dodge.
Depending on
Stingray
Dodge,
Gray,
Stingray Gray
yeah.
I think is the Jeep version.
There's a lot of other brands out there that are
that have
doing
copied
the
it.
same
That
color, that kind of,
pastel-y
yes,
gray, yeah.
exactly, like that muted kind of gray. But
So-
it looks good. But to your point, it is kind of all over the place at the as of now.
I'm gonna correct you. It is played out because like Toyota has a version of it.
I know,
and
everybody does.
now.
Dodge
So
Even on the
does,
camera, I think I saw it on a TRD camera.
They do.
Probably.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
Avalon.
Yeah.
And here's the
But-
thing, when I see it, here's what it basically is. It's basically somebody's like, hey, let's primer this
It's
car
shiny
and
primer.
gloss over it.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of came big. Everybody was
But
like, primer,
you have to
primer,
okay.
modded
All right,
cars,
let me.
this
I have a
stuff.
question for you.
I still like it.
Coming
like it.
from the automotive industry, you've got a unique insight compared to the rest of us. Most people are
Unique.
doing those like earth tone, like gray,
Yeah.
black, white,
Gray
spectrum.
sand,
Exactly.
like those, or what is
Like
it? Like
the
the equivalent of
Toyota.
Flat Dark Earth, right?
Exactly.
Flat
Like,
Dark
and those look awesome.
And
you know?
different names,
Even
yeah.
at Ford, we're doing. They're
But-
calling it forged green. It's like this forced dark earthy green.
So
color.
I would love,
It's-
and I've seen them in the past where like Car and Driver or one of
Yeah.
the major publications will do like a spectrum and they'll say like what the most popular colors are.
Yeah.
And I want to say the last one that I looked at was like gray, white, black, like just like all
Like a
up
German
at the
car.
top.
Like
of
a
it.
German-
And then I
like-
think blue. I think blue's pretty high on the list.
Yeah.
And then like your greens, your reds, your yellows,
Yeah.
like all
Yeah.
that stuff is like lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to go your monochromatic stuff, your white, your
Yes.
black, your silver, your gray, and then it's going to follow blue, typically darker blue being
Yes.
next from what I see. Then you see the different shades of red, and usually things like the greens and other colors are later. Like,
Yeah,
and
they're
for
way
me,
down.
I love green. It's my favorite color.
Same.
and
It's
never
gotta be the right
owned-
green, though.
I've never owned
gotta be the
a
right
green
green.
car, and it's because when I was looking at my Explorer, I could have ordered a forged green ST, and it didn't do it for me. What does it for me is what they put on the Bronco and the Camaro or the Mustang,
Yeah.
the eruption green. It's got this
That
yellow
flake
flake.
is
through it.
beautiful.
You throw
Oh,
gold wheels on it,
yeah.
it looks absolutely awesome. But they only do it in the Bronco and the Mustang, and I was hoping for 25 on the ST they'd offer it.
is that
new
like
color-
that lime green color?
No, it's not lime.
It's
a
a darker.
It's a
darker,
darker,
but
okay.
it's got
With
like
a flake.
It's a
green
good
or yellow.
true green with a crazy yellowy gold flake through it.
Okay.
So
You
when
don't
I
know a
saw-
guy that knows a guy that can just custom
I
paint
mean,
an ST for
well,
him?
the nice thing is that one of the new colors on the Mustang, other than the dark ember, which is absolutely amazing, but it's Dark Horse Premium only. They do the new Vapor Blue, which is a very gnarly color with blue splashed into it.
Ah, right.
Nice.
That's new for the Explorer. That's
Like almost
what I,
like
that's
shark
what I
fin
ordered.
looking, like that kind
Kinda
of like gray
Mako
blue.
kind of
Yeah.
color, the Mustang or
Yeah.
the Corvette and stuff like that. So that's the color I ended up ordering ultimately at the end of the day because it's just something unique, and I'm going with the idea of doing a satin wrap over it to give it that flat look. But first things first, we moving all the performance shit over.
Yeah. You mentioned something that I was just gonna say. So Narda Gray, it's gotten to a point that like even GM has one for the Corvette.
Yeah.
So it is.
Oh, I've seen
so
it.
Is it called like shark? Isn't that the shark skin or something like that? Like,
No,
I think it's called
no, 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 no,
Something.
no.
Yeah,
There was one
something.
at Cars on Fit that I actually filmed,
Yeah.
and it was on
I
that upload.
I have that.
It
brand.
was-
I'm thinking
it's-
of Islas's old vet.
Yes.
That color was like shark something. Or
Yeah.
something.
But no, it's a different gray, and this one it pretty much looked
You know what it
like
reminds
Narda
me
Gray.
of? You know who was one of the first ones I think jumped on that bandwagon? Maybe not first, but did it mainstream? Miata. They did that ceramic color.
Yes,
It was
you're
literally,
right.
I describe it as wet cement.
Yeah.
And that,
Oh,
to
well,
me,
that was the
it's an
ND
awesome
though,
color.
right?
It was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ND,
yeah.
awesome
Yeah.
color.
It was the ND
But it was
one.
basically their version of a Narda Gray. It's
Yeah.
beautiful in the car. It actually looked great on the
No,
car.
not great.
It looked.
Well, don't they do that with some of the other SUVs and stuff too? Don't they? No, maybe
No,
not.
it's,
No.
a little darker.
it's similar.
It's
to
a
Vapor
variant
Blue.
of that color.
It's got that bluish tint. to
Yeah,
it now,
we
'cause they
I,
do the-
when,
they do
when
the,
we were shopping the CX-9 because they
the
always come with the black
CX-9, the
wheels.
6, and something else.
Yeah.
That's the carbon
Yeah.
edition.
Carbon
Yes.
edition,
And it is
yes,
cool
yeah.
blue
That's
gray
a
color.
really, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking-
you're right. It is a little more
Randomly,
blue.
I got
tint
to see
and
my
stuff.
first in-person CX-90 day that came into the Ford dealership. It looks
Oh,
great.
I've seen.
I gotta say,
yeah,
it
they're
looks
Oh, yeah,
they're
they
awesome.
look
They're
awesome.
beefy looking.
Yeah, it looks great.
And it's got the inline six.
All right.
which is-
Anyways,
anyway,
back
order.
back on topic. E36, E46 with Porsche Racing Green. You said C5 Corvette with Nardo Gray.
Oh, so are we doing the color on the car?
No, 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 no,
see,
no,
this-
no, no.
So okay, you're just pairing it together. I got you.
I like my color choice for my Cayman.
I'm
too,
not gonna
though,
lie. I
honestly.
would take a Nardo
Either
Gray
the
C5
purple or
Corvette
the-
though.
That would be kinda cool.
I'm just saying.
That would be kind of cool.
just
Wait,
saying.
what color would you pick?
So if
Now I'm
so
Racing
there's
Green.
another. I'm not gonna lie. We talked about purple, right? We've talked about a couple different colors. One purple that like always has stuck with me very early on in my like car enthusiast career, if you will. Midnight Purple from Nissan.
Nissan is
For
I'm
the,
glad you said that because
It's midnight.
I was going to inject another
On
color
the-
into my
the Nur.
option.
Hold on.
And it's not that one, but
Is it Midnight Purple 2
yes.
or Midnight Purple 3? Because there's two different
If
colors.
you're referring to
See,
what you saw in Gran Turismo 3 and 4, it's
I am
two.
learning something. I did not know there were 2 different Midnight Purples.
Okay,
but
so
the,
Midnight Purple 2, you might correct me if I'm wrong. Midnight Purple 2 is the purple with yellow, orangish, and blue.
okay.
And then there's a purple with, I think it's like it's a green. It's like bluish and green.
my understanding was the
That
3
one.
had way more color flip.
That
Aspect
one.
to
That
it.
one.
I think that's
Uh,
2
I-
then. The
the-
one that you're talking about is 2.
Okay, so it's 2. So if I have to choose, Nardo Gray is on my list. Even though we just talked about it's
Yeah.
played out, I just like that color. The Midnight Purple, and then also just lost my train of thought. But I will say currently, not only because I own one, but I really love the current Mazda Red, which
Soul
is
Red.
Soul Red.
Oh, yeah, Soul
with
Red
the
is great.
super heavy flake in it. It is.
It's one of the best.
If
factory
it is
reds.
clean and it is like properly taken care of in the
Very
right light, it
deep.
is so
Is it
great.
like the
Oh,
same
absolutely.
three that I had, that red, where it has like
No.
a yellowish and gold flake?
No,
No.
it's like my wife's
It's
DX9.
not Soul Red.
It's
just
but
such a
when
depth
when
to
it's
it.
clean
They
and
do.
like waxed properly and like you actually have the car like detailed,
ceramic
it
and
is
stuff,
so
yeah.
deep
So
and like
most
just-
manufacturers charge more for certain paint jobs. Last I checked, the only one that Mazda does is the
Yes,
Soul Red.
Soul Red.
And
It's like a $500 option.
It is, I think it's
But
crazy
it-
now, but it
it is so beautiful when it's
one of the
like
deepest red paint jobs you'll see on a
like when we
So-
when we bought our CX9 for instance,
Yeah.
like it we had a lot of other options. We could have like got a black, we could have got a gray, whatever. But it was like we saw the red and it was on the lot, and I was like, golly, this thing is just so pretty. It's so deep. It's got so much sparkle to it. And I'm just a red guy. You are.
Sparkle.
I am too.
Sparkly.
It's
Spare
So anyway,
And for
so
the
one,
record,
one
red-
turn to 3, but
Red gets a lot of hate. Everyone's like, "Oh, cops notice it more." It's not true.
not true.
Okay,
When the cops
so-
are sitting there
No,
running radar,
cops
hold on,
notice
let me-
when you're
let
going
me-
110
Okay.
miles
Right,
an hour.
when
Right?
when they have it, they have this radar and it shows up with lights. It makes
Yeah.
it makes a unique tone, the Doppler zone, and half the time that's we're looking, we're watching cars, we're watching the tone. We're not looking for colors.
Yeah.
Yes, if you have
Who's
a
this
bright
we you speak
blue,
of?
a bright red. Well, none of you guys, but me and my people.
I didn't know who were actually admitting that or talking.
No,
about.
but
okay.
so I think you guys brought it up years ago, or weeks ago,
Okay,
in a few,
that's
in a
all
few
right.
previous
Yeah.
podcasts.
Oops.
But anyway, so it's one of those like bright colors. Obviously, awareness. You guys are driving. If a gray or like a graphite color car passes you, you're not going to notice as much as like a
Yes.
bright blue, a bright
Exactly.
red, a yellow.
Yeah.
So that's partially true. But when it comes to tickets, like there's been so many studies and articles.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's all
Well, and,
shenanigans.
and they also say that like a red car or like a yellow car,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, will increase your insurance rates. I don't know if there's any
Hold
validity
on.
to that.
I mean,
Well,
we live in
I-
Southwest Florida. Everything increases our insurance.
I've got
Oh,
a
that's true.
Like,
yeah, that's true. I gotta ask you, Carmelo,
Yeah.
because since you are in law enforcement, just to debunk the whole color thing like that you were just talking
Yeah.
about and speed limit thing, what really attracts cops to pulling people over?
oh, you're putting me on the spot. So
If you're comfortable talking about it, go ahead.
So it depends, and I'll be frank, and I'm not going to get too involved because I don't want to give tactics away. But
That's
it's one of
fine.
those things where, like when
Tell
I
me
was
your
early,
secrets.
when I was early in my career, there was a certain hotel known for large amounts of narcotic activity, and so I would sit in a certain place, look for a traffic violation that like 1 in 3 people wouldn't commit, as they would come out and pull onto a major roadway. And I would look at the occupants, not what they looked at because it was dark. I mean, this is between 11 and probably 3 a.m., 4 a.m. I would look at the movement, and and from there I have the probable cause to pull it over. But it's a whole nother thing if like there was times that I was assigned to the neighborhood, not your specific, but the area that you live in.
yeah.
And it's one of those, like, I would just sit and run radar because that's what the complaints were coming in. And anybody that was doing more than a specific number over, I would pull over. And
Now-
it didn't matter. It didn't matter what color car, what
Yeah.
ethnicity, because half the time when cars are coming by you,
You can't.
even
No, at
if
nighttime,
it's
especially
at a
yeah.
school zone and people are doing 30 and you're in the speed limit's 15, unless they have no tint, most of the time you can't see the ethnicity of what they are.
Yeah.
And not to get down that path, I'll stray away from that.
Yeah.
But, it just depends on what I'm looking at. Because, there's also times where initially I was looking for DUIs. So if there was a car that, let's say, had a equipment violation and it wasn't a big deal, but the car next to it was swerving and failing to maintain lane, I would rather go after the car that is presumably a DUI and a threat to others than the car that had a traffic violation.
Get a bottle opener.
So
You want to go to Stouts?
Let's hold off on that because I actually have a bottle of that somehow. I don't know how I got a bottle of that, but I got a bottle of that.
All right.
So all the BS about that.
Anyways,
I gotta add a third color to my option because.
oh my god! Wait, hold on.
We've
What are
talked about this.
what are your first two?
Well, he said purple.
Merlin purple.
Okay.
Especially if I got a key. I don't have an actual. Merlin purple. And this was more so if I ordered the RS6 I'd dream of, Merlin purple. I don't even know what guts I would do, but definitely Merlin purple.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Porsche racing green with that cognac interior, just you can't beat. But we talked about this specifically. You and I talked about it, but me and Chris Crane talked about it because I was talking about what color to do my Porsche eventually.
Oh.
And I forgot about this. It's an oddball, unique color. Only about 400 of these cars were made on the GTR and the R34. But that Millennium Jade, that is just such a cool, unique color. And I only bring that one up as one of my favorite factory colors because I do love it. It's super unique. It is a version of green. It's a very pale green, and it's probably, if all goes well, what I will wrap the 944 in when it's all done. Because much like Eric, I like to piss off purists of the cars that I drive, which is why my Explorer is lowered and obnoxious as shit. My Genesis was lowered and obnoxious. My Miata was the one I didn't destroy.
Full disclosure to all of our viewers, that's
you destroyed the first one.
Right, I destroyed the first. The second Miata, I actually kept in very good factory condition. Did a full rebuild on all the seals when I first bought it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I like my obnoxiousness, and whatever I do get in the future will be, especially if it's an RS, will be obnoxious. Like spit, sputter, gurgle, backfire, flames. Hopefully, like I will just go batshit crazy if I get my hands.
We talking like Lambo flames, where they're just limiter and then.
You mean Lambo or like the Civics? From like the 20s,
hey, you know what? They were trying to hang with the cool kids.
Listen, we'll drill through your.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys need to. You gotta get some of that.
It's really funny because like we started off with just random colors, and I said the Porsche Racing Green. You mentioned the Midnight Purple 2 or 3. You just mentioned Merlin Purple,
the Porsche Racing
Green, and you mentioned Imperial Jade, which by far
Imperial Jade is really pretty color too.
If I ended up getting a R34, which this is pretty much like a long shot because they're 6 figures now.
Oh yeah.
Imperial Jade is
GTR
one car. Yeah, GTR is one color that I would get, but another color that's really pretty is another green, and I talked about it on, I can't remember if it was the last podcast or the podcast before, but it was Millennial Jade. No, actually, I'm sorry. So, shit, I can't remember.
Well,
Millennial Jade.
I have an
Millennial
idea.
Jade. Millennial Jade.
It's Millennial Jade.
Can I interject? I have an idea. You can do you can either wrap or paint
You can.
your C6 Corvette with Imperial or Millennial Jade, and then put it on JDM wheels, and it will probably be faster than an R34 GTR.
Hold on.
Just throwing it out
So
there.
are you gonna do Volks or are you gonna go RPF1?
And it'll piss off the boomers.
First off,
and I am all about it.
I am
hold
all
on.
for wrapping a car, and yours has these smoothest curves. It would be the perfect car for us to practice wrapping something.
It would be.
It would be the perfect.
You're
I would
talking
be
about
down.
us wrapping something?
Yeah, why
I didn't
not?
say well. I just said
man.
learn. I didn't say it would look good when we're done.
That's
He
a
did.
whole other rabbit hole.
He
Do
did,
you
yeah.
mean welding? The what we did with that?
Sir, you have no exhaust leaks.
You want to look at it though? Cause
No.
yeah.
No,
So
I mean,
what
it's
how much?
kinda like
What
the
was his
mistake you
hourly
make
cost?
with
Because you know
that.
welding gets very.
It was free and we did it in the rain.
It was very sketchy.
It was a fun time.
I thought I was gonna die.
Was
By the
this
way-
pre or post coolant, or was that a different day?
This thing never gave me a coolant bath. It
Oh
was
my
the
God.
Speed.
Yeah,
It was
weirdly
the
enough,
Speed
it was
3.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew it was a
this-
Mazda.
this
Just never
never
did
did
it.
It was
tastes like a
his
Reese's.
Speed 3
Dude,
and
I
his
know.
Speed
I
3.
need to share a little
No,
bit.
this was we had
I need to share a little bit.
We do.
with the
This
wife.
and
This is
Chelsea's
delicious.
Mazda
Oh, with the
Speed
wife.
3.
I don't
And
know
I was
about
under
that.
under
Really
the
okay.
car while rain was coming down.
Yeah.
I had it in my hand. It was really sketchy.
I remember I was
Really
working
good.
that day.
Yeah,
You guys sent me a
I
picture.
recommend you
It
guys.
was, I'm good.
Oh.
there.
Yeah, drink that
But-
and then pour some of that in your cup.
Anyway.
I need to simplify my color thing. Generically, British Racing Green. Because I understand the Porsche one's different.
Phenomenal.
Almost
Phenomenal
every
color.
manufacturer.
I was gonna say I have never heard of
Well, I
Porsche
guess,
Racing
yeah,
Green.
Yeah, almost every
British
manufacturer
Racing
has their slight version at some time in their career of a British Racing Green, and they're all ever so slightly different. But just to make it generic, British Racing Green probably one of my favorite automotive colors of all time.
Yeah.
Regardless of the interior.
I mean,
With the
okay.
with the yellow stripe or with
But-
just
hold on.
generically,
because
British
that is a
Racing
very
Green
that is a very
base.
common.
So that's
Wait.
like a very Lotus. When you bring
Yes.
the yellow, I'm
Yes.
thinking
Or
Lotus.
MG,
100%,
like,
yeah.
like MG
Yes.
kind of
Aston
stuff,
Martin,
like,
Yeah.
very
OG,
much so.
MG, all that kind of stuff. Like OG.
I don't know
British
that
Racing
green.
Green
Just something.
is-
I know you're not a yellow guy. Yellow's
not.
a weird.
Which
Yellow's
is-
a weird
which
color,
is-
but the
which-
British Racing Green
which
with the
pains
yellow.
me because my son's favorite color is yellow, and
He's still young.
It is.
There's
I
still
know.
time.
He's still wrong. He's still wrong. But I'm gonna
I'm
get him there.
surprised. I'm surprised you and your wife hasn't forced him a new color.
We're working on it, but we're letting him do his own thing.
Red.
My daughter
Go
went
red.
all
Yes.
on blue, and then
No.
green's her second favorite because she let mom's color's her favorite, dad's color's her second favorite for now.
Both of my kids' favorite colors are red.
Yeah, both of my kids understand that. For me, it's black
But
and
you don't-
green. Those are the colors.
I guess the Elantra is red.
And also
Okay,
pink
wait,
and
wait,
purple.
hold on.
It's more of a Merlot.
Anyway,
Okay,
we're
so
going way off.
We
topic
talked
here.
about colors. Millennial.
I don't know.
Jade
We got
and-
Carmelo's
No,
choice. We
no.
haven't gotten
We
Carmelo's
haven't
choices
gotten
yet, so
Yeah.
we need to
Hold
get
on.
Carmelo's choices.
So Millennial Jade, because God, we've been going on in this
I
freaking
know.
rant for like a little over an hour and 10 minutes, close to an hour and 10 minutes now.
all right.
Millennial Jade or Imperial Jade and Porsche Racing Green. I love green, man. Green is such a great color.
It is a good
You
color.
said midnight purple,
Nardo gray, midnight purple,
and midnight purple.
and soul not soul red.
Yeah, so red.
Soul red.
Midnight purple, British Racing Green at this point,
Generically, yeah.
and
With Merlin
Imperial
purple.
Jade.
Let's say because that's a green variant. You have to do like the Millennium, but for uniqueness, it would be either British Racing or truly unique Merlin purple.
Okay.
All right.
And
like
Carmelo's
purple.
had a lot of time
on.
and
I've had
time
a lot
and
of
input.
time, but the irony with all this is I've stayed with. I'm gonna go with a manufacturer that none of you talked about.
They're just like white.
Regular weight.
No, I'll never own a white truck or a white car
because of
I
his
know,
car.
This is an odd one.
You
for
say
me.
Well, no, but
that.
That's
Hold
different.
on.
You got a great deal on this.
Yeah.
and-
Hold on,
Yeah. Anyway,
For
I
me,
have to
truly.
so I have to add. You're saying that, but your daily driver for work is a white Explorer.
I don't choose the color.
Yeah, what's he gonna do about that?
I can't choose the color. You know,
this guy also has a white Explorer and he chose to buy that one. So
You're not wrong about that.
Limited.
He just tries to make his car look like mine. His
That's
SUV
true.
look like mine.
Yeah. From
But-
a dig. Let's go from a dig.
I mean,
That's a really good deal, by the way.
we can do that, but it'll cost you a lot of money.
I gotta save like that much.
No body
That's
cam.
fine.
No cameras on.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm gonna go.
No, but so one of the things, and I think you guys, after I explain my point, will agree. Third gen Vipers,
Yes.
the red with the flake, the blue with the flake, even that yellow was
That's
so
true.
unique.
Yeah.
FCA during that time period, even the neon SRT4 had the ACRs had that almost similar to Viper Blue with like
Yeah.
a silver flake in it. That time period, I mean, I painted my '99 Mustang that red from the second gen. It was a second gen Viper red. I can't recall the name. For some reason, I mean, it's
Just wait till you try it, buddy.
that's
Put
what's
it in
sticking
your
out to me.
mouth.
I've seen different colors, and ironically, with
Sorry.
We're all children here, by the way.
Carmelo, you gotta try this.
We're all in
So
our
good.
mid 30s,
Anyway,
but
I
gotta-
we're really
I gotta get
not.
I'm with you, bro. It's
We need to get
So-
you more tequila. You drink that faster.
yeah.
Bro, why are you babysitting the
I'm
fucking
babying.
blue
Oh.
label?
I'm
my
babying the blue
God.
label. I'm not a big blender or whiskey guy.
Oh my god. Anyways, okay. Color. Go ahead and spit it out.
So FCA during that time period, even the later SRT
it's
Vipers, that I think they're fourth, fifth
Dude,
gen.
it tastes like a Reese's.
But anyway, so I would have to say it would be something of that color palette. To be fair, I'm partially like colorblind, so I can't see like 100% of colors.
All right.
But so the reds, the blues of the Viper of that era, that's what I'd go with.
Okay.
What color is it hard for you to see if somebody want to speed past you?
I mean, if it's a big object, I'm gonna see it.
He's not on the
Well,
road
nobody's
anymore.
ever claimed them a big
So,
object. Well,
so
some of you.
Yeah.
Chelsea has.
The external.
All right.
Yeah.
I was
Anyways.
talking about the Explorer, but
I
You
think we
made it
gotta
first
do.
for me.
I think we just owe it justice to everybody that we need to do a beverage recap. Even though I think we're getting a little silly at this point.
Yeah, we
so,
can do.
You know,
Okay, wait.
we've all been drinking the same things. So
But before we get into that, Carmelo, finally name the color that you think. Is that
we've all been
green
going on
or-
2, 3
I'm
colors.
sorry. You said red.
yeah. So either the red or the blue. I said red, blue, and yellow from that third gen Viper.
Okay. Sorry. I just.
No, you're good.
I mean, dude, at this point, fuck, man, we've had a lot of alcohol at this point, man.
It's the perfect way to spend a Saturday afternoon. I don't know about you guys.
Celebratory first podcast.
Yes, it
so
is.
So anyway, you know, we've talked about colors. We've talked about $15,000 cars. I feel like we got to do a beverage recap, and then we'll probably wrap it up. It's probably
We have
probably
fun
about time.
glassware.
So
yes.
awesome glassware, by the way. I don't know if
Thank
you
you, Nick.
mentioned that yet.
Thank you, Nick.
We're
Nick
accepting
ordered-
pre-orders in our shop. Just
We got it.
send
Yep.
us DMs
Yep.
on YouTube.
Absolutely, we got a new logo, which means glassware to go along with it.
Yes.
So thanks to my wife for actually putting
Yeah.
together the logo.
a
So
hell of a
thanks,
job.
Lindsay.
Yes. Thank you, Lindsay.
Now
That's-
it's instilled on glassware.
I will admit the new updated logo,
It's phenomenal.
It is.
fire. Fire.
Like, share, subscribe, please.
Share,
so-
comment, and subscribe.
I'm just gonna dive right in. Don Julio, this was phenomenal. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I like tequila, but I'm not well explored in tequila.
Cool.
This was probably the smoothest tequila that I've ever had in my life. I mean, you could literally sip it. It was
Yeah.
I concur.
I
It
100%
It is very
all of the flavor, none of the bite, none of that.
None
kinda cloying
whatsoever.
scent, None of that, like,
I mean,
like it just is so smooth. You could sip it with anything at room temp, with
Absolutely.
ice, without ice.
Yeah.
Just,
absolutely phenomenal.
you almost, even if you don't like tequila, you really can't complain about it.
No,
It's
not
so-
at all. I
dude,
mean,
it's so,
so
un-tequila.
it did have that like
You get that agave flavor.
the
that kinda
agave
comes with
flavor,
that.
but
Yes.
it was not
It's
overwhelming,
pure.
and it
It's
was
so pure.
absolutely
There's no
it's
extra BS. There's no harshness that's unnecessary. It's a foolproof,
so good.
and it's so smooth. For somebody that's weird about that.
Blue Label, also a phenomenal Scotch.
Yes. If you like that
it has
smoked
been a
peat
while.
flavor, it is a great thing. Obviously, Carmelo's not as much of a Scotch
So
guy.
that smoke peat flavor
The
is what
smoke and
is
the peat,
kind
man,
of
it's
it's a little bit overbearing.
Scotch
And
is
I-
a very
that
first
acquired
sip-
taste.
Right.
I
And that
will
first sip,
never-
I kind of gulped. So it was just like,
Oh yeah,
because we were joking pre going live that like, oh, don't do it as a shot, and I was like, oh wait, this isn't a shot. You
Yeah,
Expensive
you
shot.
gotta-
It's a very expensive shot.
right.
Yep.
So I did it. And I was like, ooh, let me slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was just that smoked peat flavor.
Now
I
there-
couldn't get rid of it.
Yes.
Not being a Scotch fan is something I will never knock somebody for because it is
It-
very much an acquired
yeah,
taste.
100%.
That smoking is like my wife, as smooth as this is, could not. This is not up to her thing. She's a clear liquor and the oak charriness that hits her,
Right.
she can't do. And on top, the oak barrel on top of the smoked
And
peat,
that's
yeah.
the thing is the
a
barrel
lot.
in there.
It's
It's a
way
lot. Where
different.
the tequila, I could drink the
It's
tequila.
it's
all
not
day.
like
Yeah.
it's you know, even though bourbon and Scotch are very very similar, it is a totally
it's
different
that
ballpark.
smoked peat that just
Yes,
pushes it over
100%.
the edge for a lot of people.
I gotta bring this to your house next time we hang out so that
Ramen night.
Chelsea
Did anybody say
can
ramen?
try the
Yes.
We're about
she,
to.
she would probably like
1942.
that.
Yeah, she
So
would like
all
that.
right, we did the Don Julio, we did Blue Label,
The Whistle Pig. Oh my
Whistle
God.
Pig.
Whistle Pig is
and
good.
we were over here sipping on this. I know Nick has already talked about it a lot.
2 bottles.
Yes.
But it's really really good. It's got a super unique flavor to it.
Dude, it does.
It
Like,
does.
weirdly unique. it's
holy
delicious.
the
but
crazy
it's-
It's
thing,
like
and
the
that's what
texture to it.
Well, so for me, what's weird about that is like it's rye based, and typically for me,
Yeah,
like,
you're
and
not a rye guy.
I
I love
Woodford
rye.
Reserve, but a Woodford rye turns me off. It's just too
I love
spicy
rye.
almost, right? And I like that spice. So for me, that being rye based,
Mike,
but
get your
that
mic-
lychee
Get closer to the
additive,
mic. Put your mouth close.
yeah,
Mike.
No,
Yeah.
Mike, you got it.
Yeah, just get your mic closer
Yeah,
to
that
you.
lychee
Just put
additive.
your
love
Wait.
I love
put your
rye.
mic closer to the edge of the table.
edge of my no.
Anyway, yes.
So so that lychee flavor that they add to it, and then that oolong barrel aging just
Super
takes
unique.
away every
Oh my God.
harshness. It makes it probably one of the most. No, 100%. That is the most unique whiskey I've ever drank.
It's
I mean,
really,
sure.
so
really different.
I mentioned it on the last podcast that I'm not a huge whiskey and bourbon drinker, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be.
Yeah, and again, It's not for
But-
everybody. Don't push yourself if it's just you don't.
No,
enjoy it,
this is
don't.
It's not.
No,
That's
this is
different. That's
this
unique.
is good.
Yeah, that shit isn't unique.
This is good.
I've
So
now
that's
purchased
why
7 bottles of that stuff. I've given you one. I've
this
drank
is
2.
mine. This is mine.
I have one and I now have 4 at home that are not unopened.
Yeah.
So-
So, but first off, thank you
Yeah.
for that because that's actually really good. But I took your opinion into consideration into the Suntory Toki Japanese whiskey.
yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
So I drank that last night, and it is so smooth.
It's a great entry for somebody
It is.
that wants to spend $50-$55. It is a phenomenal
So-
entry.
No,
into
it was-
one of those.
well,
Oh,
it
that's right.
wasn't
You
that
found
expensive.
somebody.
Yeah.
I think mine was
So-
mine came with a special box for the 100th anniversary. I think that's why it was more expensive.
You like the
Probably.
special boxes,
yeah.
don't you?
It
So-
definitely had. But I do.
You're
like,
all about the
I
special
do like a
boxes.
special box.
So
It feels
if you go down, so we're here in Mike's house. If you go down
You go
Gateway
that road there
Boulevard,
and this road that away, and then
Yeah.
no,
the
if
scarecrow it this way.
yes,
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Look at
Anyway,
but-
in Fort Myers,
Look
go
like
to
the
Total
village
Wine
people
and
in
you
the
can get
YMCA
it.
over
no. So if you go to his closest Publix, they have Suntory.
Suntory.
Over here by
Suntory.
over here by. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Good
so
to know.
they have a Publix.
Probably $47 because
No.
Publix is too expensive.
So it's
No,
like 30,
it's
isn't it?
not. It's like $35 or
Alright.
Yeah.
$35 to $37.
That's a
Alright.
phenomenal whiskey for sub
It is so good.
Carmelo hasn't
I'm
tried
still
this
working
one.
on it. I'm still working on it.
So
I'll get there.
I think we got through all the whiskeys and the tequila.
Rinse.
Angry Chair Moon Butter.
Oh my god. Okay, so
Just the smell.
hold on.
Before, can I just say, I only just got this out of the fridge as like a
You did.
backdrop for this podcast. As like, it looks
Why
cool,
not,
whatever.
right?
You did.
Then I decided to crack it mid podcast. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like a Reese's
I
cup in a
agree with
glass,
that.
and I have to,
Suntory.
Carmelo, you have to try it, but I also have to share a little bit of this with the wife.
Yes,
Otherwise, she's going
agreed.
to stab me in my sleep
Yeah.
tonight.
Like-
It's so good. It literally is like a Reese's cup.
That's
I don't
good.
know what you guys.
Dude,
I don't know what you guys
just
think about
take
it.
the big whiff of it too.
I agree.
Oh.
I
Oh my
agree.
god.
It's like an alcoholic
So-
Reese's cup.
We took butter from the moon, and nah, just kidding. Moon butter is an imperial sweet stout with chocolate and peanut butter. Treat yourself. Is literally on the label.
Yes.
It's
So
So good.
so I
smell is just-
I
Oh my God,
handle
I know. It's
Very
insane.
good.
I handle a lot of
It smells great, but it tastes better than it smells.
yeah, it does. So I handle a lot of like the social media pages here for us. Like these guys, like they have like we all have day
that,
jobs.
Eric.
We all have or they have wives and kids.
They can be overrated. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. That's why I'm single
comment.
with no kids.
Race
Anyways,
cars are more affordable.
yes, they
True.
are. Anyways,
Only guy here with it.
so
Anyway.
so I posted your angry chair with Duke's mayonnaise beer post.
So good.
I kind of wish
Oh my god.
I kind of wished I would have tried that.
Bro.
But this from Angry
Yeah.
Chair, holy shit! It tastes like. So if you got Angry Chair and you took a sip of like any I don't know.
So for anyone that doesn't know, Angry Chairs in Tampa.
Yes.
They're well known for their imperial stouts.
Some great collaboration.
They do a lot of
Yeah.
really cool. They do a lot of really cool beers, but their imperial stouts are where they absolutely
They
shine.
shine.
Kind of like burial.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
right,
much,
yeah.
very much so. But they are. I mean, they've been doing this for I don't know, 8 to 10 years probably, as far as their stouts. Phenomenal beer. It literally tastes like you're drinking a Reese's cup. There's no alcohol burn to it. I mean, I'm sure this being
There's
an
not.
imperial stout is probably at least 10%,
Yeah.
if I had to guess. Super good beer.
Dude, my first whiff, it literally, I had like flashbacks to the kid of like a fresh peanut butter pie. That
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
first whiff,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh my
so
God.
aromatic. It's
Wow.
not like sniffing a Reese's
So-
peanut butter cup. It's like sniffing a
peanut
fresh
butter pie.
baked pie.
Yeah,
That aromaticness
so-
to it just hits you. And it's just like, oh.
So what we need to do is one.
Get drunk.
First off, hit up.
I think we're on our way.
We are, but it's fine.
So here's my
First
content.
thing.
But it's fine.
I'm drinking
It's
more
fine.
of the
It's fine.
so that's gonna be great.
The
Sleep
first
through
thing.
tonight. Woo!
Yeah, the first thing we need to do is hit up Yoder's in
Oh,
Sarasota.
and get one of their pies.
Their peanut butter cream pie.
Pair it with a moon butter.
I am really.
God.
I make a mean cream pie. I'm just saying.
So
Do you?
what
Your
did-
wife might know that more than
Get
we
out of
do.
here. All right, and on that note,
I didn't realize you baked.
I feel like that's all the time we
the
have
buns in the oven.
for tonight's podcast. So
It is all the time that we have here for our podcast. We've run for like an hour and
Eric,
20 minutes.
send us off, buddy. You're the one that does the you're
Yes.
the one that does the outro.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for all of our viewers, listeners, and subscribers. I'm sorry, I'm a little tipsy. Make sure to savor your brews and hit the road responsibly.
Please.
We're probably gonna chill here for a little while after the podcast because we just need to sober up a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers to booze and cars, and we'll catch you guys on the next upload. Make sure you actually keep up with our social media pages. Look us up. I'm actually going to start linking our Linktree in the description below. But keep an eye out for all of our uploads and all of our posts. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. Cheers to Boots and Cars,
Cheers
and
to
we'll
BBC.
catch you guys
BBC.
on the next episode.
Cheers.
Cheers.